Hello friends, how you doing today? In this video, I wanted to record a kind of a walkthrough of how I secured 15 units with seller or owner financing. Kind of give you the whole breakdown, how it all came to be. This was 2 fourplexes, a triplex, and 4 single family homes. So without further ado, let's open the PowerPoint and give you a walkthrough of how this all came to be. Okay. All right. So again, this was recently completed. Given this video will live on for a long time, I'll just say 2019. Again, it was seller kind of slash owner financing, and here are the details. So first and foremost, some keys about seller financing. Unfortunately, most available properties in your MLS or realtor or whatever don't actually qualify or fit for seller financing because most of them have loan balances and most of them are quite large. So seller financing is an interesting concept. Lots of people talk about it, but realize it's a rare opportunity where one of these will happen. That said, off-market deals, or sometimes called frustrated landlords, can be a great place to look at these. Often these might be older sellers. They've owned them for a long time. They've kind of grew tired of them, and they're just kind of limping along, not raising rents, doing what they can. The flexibility and creativity with owner financing is nearly endless. Not only can you control the normal terms, purchase price, down payment, interest rate, term, but you could do lots of other things. You can do stuff in trade. There's just lots of things you could do. So just realize what I'm going to go through is this specific deal, but even more things are possible. And really the key is you need to ask and then listen to what's important to the seller. That's the big key that not a lot of people get. They kind of race to what they want instead of giving the seller what they want, or at least understanding what the seller wants. So the start. In this case, the seller called me a year after I bought one of his properties for cash. When he gave me the property for cash, I remember him handing me the keys, and I told him, "Hey, if you ever want to sell your remaining units, we should talk about seller financing." He frankly blew me off, but I did leave him with the idea that he could pay less year one taxes, remove headaches of daily management, and most importantly, keep monthly income. I wanted him to hear that. And then sure enough, just over a year later, he was interested, and he actually sent me an email saying, "Hey, Michael, are you still interested in perhaps buying the rest of my properties? And if so, we should talk." I, of course, said absolutely. His 15 units left were 2 fourplexes, a triplex, and 4 houses. So I told him to tell me about them. Right, we're at step 0. He gave me the addresses and the existing rent rolls. And then he asked me to give him a number, right? How much? I told him I would drive by them and get back to him within 48 hours. I had to get my eyes on him, see what I was looking at. But again, I told him, yes, I'll buy these. No need to look anywhere else. The reason I did that is, he could have easily called up 5 or 6 other people. I wanted to let him know that I was interested. I would buy them. I would do the work, the due diligence to give him what he wanted. I had, like I said, already bought one of his properties and was happy with it. So I figured it would be much of the same. But of course, I wanted to do my due diligence and make sure, that I felt good about the opportunity. So the properties look fine. I just did a drive-by at this point. Didn't actually go inside. Wanted to look at roofs and windows. How clean the properties were, get my eyes on the tenants if I could. I knew the areas. The existing rents at $9,500 were under market by at least $1,500. And if I were to make some investments, probably under market by $2,500. This is going to become important for later. But this is very common with people who've owned property for 20 or 30 years. They kind of get to a point where in the beginning, maybe they were raising rents every year. But then they just get tired, they slow down, and they're like, you know what, tenants aren't bothering me. I'll leave their rents alone. So this is when it starts getting fun. I shared with the seller that I intended to hold these properties forever, and thus I really didn't care about the price, but instead the term and monthly payment was important to me. I explained, for example, that I would not want my monthly payment to be over 50% of current rent. Right, current rent was $9,500 there in the first bullet point. So I didn't want my rent to be more than, or my monthly mortgage payment to be more than $4,750, I think is 50%. Right, so this is just the start of negotiations. And again, realize that price wasn't important. It was at some level, but in reality, it was the least important part to me. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Step 2, the seller. He wants a number. He is fixated on that number. He wants a bundle price. He doesn't want to hear my story of payment and monthly payments. He wants a number, and for the first time threatens me that he might go somewhere else if I don't give him a number. After taking a deep breath, I said, okay, but remember, this number means little to me as I'm only interested in the payment. I said, what about $800K? He did not like my number, which I frankly didn't expect him to, but he was forcing my hand instead of talking about payments and terms. After 24 hours, he called me back and says the best he could do is $900K. I said, great, $900K. Now we can talk about terms. So basically, I agreed to his number right then and there, 900 grand. This really got him excited, as I think he could finally see the sale going through. Next, we talk about what he wanted at closing, if anything. He started at 50K, and after talking to his wife, he increased it to 100K. I said, great, 900K purchase price, 100K down payment. Now, how long a term do you want? He said 20 years. I said, great, now we have the term. Last thing is payment. He wasn't having the $4,750 and originally agreed to $5,000 after a back and forth. I agreed, and then we met. We met each other. We walked through the properties, got into them, made sure that not only they look good from the outside, but good from the inside. He did change his tune. He said he'd feel a lot better at 5,300, not 5,000. I honestly believe I could have pushed and said, "Hey, buddy, we agreed to 5,000. You've already changed it from 50 to 100,000. What gives?" And he probably would have relented, but I thought that would have hurt our relationship. And again, we're going to have a 20-year relationship. I probably could have even split the difference at 5,150. But at that point, I agreed, and we closed the deal. 900 grand, 100K down, $5,300 payment for 20 years, fully amortized. After taking ownership, we did more diligent walkthrough inspections, and we got a list of immediate repairs, which really wasn't too bad. It was about $5,000 across all 15 units, so pretty nominal compared to some of the things I buy. We also raised rents on every single unit $100. So that either whether it was a fourplex or a house, they all were raised $100. So immediately our income went up $1,500 once it went through. And the other key is nobody left. These were at least $200 to $300 under market. I believe most are at least $100 still under market, but we're going to wait another year and see where we go from here, as we do plan to own these for quite some time. So in reality, there were a bunch in the background. I did these things to protect myself. It didn't behoove me to share them. I wasn't asked them, so I would have probably shared if asked, but I wasn't asked. I pegged the as-is value of the property at $1.2 million. Remember, I offered $800K, and we agreed to $900. Again, I felt very safe agreeing to $900 because again, that was $300K under market. I pegged after repair value at 1.5, right? If I was going to go spend the 20 to 40K per house per property at 1.5. I did go in wanting to keep down payment under 10%. So originally I was very happy with 50K, but I did agree to 100K, which was just over 10%. I wanted to keep the interest rate to 5% or better. However, it's important to know that I was hoping to have 5% or better on a 30-year loan. Instead, we did a 20-year loan, and the interest rate is now 5.05%. So again, very happy with that. And then again, I wanted flexibility to sell these if I wanted to. We did agree to a 1-year prepay, which I frankly wouldn't sell in the first year anyway because I don't want to pay ordinary income. But again, I did agree to a 1-year prepay of $10K. But again, I wouldn't sell in the first year anyway, given the value I have created. I would wait a year, so I just pay capital gains instead of ordinary income. So again, I was doing lots of things in the background. I walked you through the entire interaction with the seller, but I did have a number in mind, again, 1.2. So agreeing to 900K was easy. Agreeing to 100K down was easy because I was hoping for 90K. I got a 5-year interest rate on 20-year money when I was expecting 30-year money. So all of these are really good and happy with these. And lastly, I agreed to a 1-year prepay, even though I have no intentions of selling in the first year. So again, the keys here, I never shared my estimates of value. And the only number I ever gave the seller was 800K because he forced me. I would have easily accepted 800K if he did. I expected him not to because, again, I thought the value was 1.2. I controlled the terms and backed into a framework that I was okay and that he liked and I liked. So we both felt like we won. I expect to hold these for the long term, but I have to be honest. Part of me feels like, what if I sold the 2 fourplexes and paid off the debt and just kept the triplex and the 4 houses free and clear? That's something that we could theoretically do. And again, this all comes together because, in the beginning, you have to tell sellers you're open to, seller financing is good for them. Less year 1 taxes, less management headaches, and continued income, right? This case, the individual is getting $5,300 a month with no headaches. And he's getting that $5,300 on 800 grand, which is pretty cool. And again, you have to listen and ask a lot of questions. So again, thank you very much for watching. Do me a favor, hit subscribe. Share this video if you think owner financing or seller financing of interest to anyone. Hit that like button. And as always, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks.